We're live there, and we're pretty much getting there. Lots of kind of boots up here.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Instagram is live.
Okay, there. Hello, everybody. Help to the Natural Health
Thank you.
Shops. Of course, it's Monday again, 6 o'clock. We're here to talk. We're actually in men's health this month, but fertility and ED kind of has to do more with everybody too, especially fertility. So we're going to give some general ideas as to why that's important. I'm going to talk a lot about the nutritional aspects of the body. We're talking Chip will give us information on neurological parts and more fun stuff. So we'll get right into it. Again, after 39 years of experience, we've been around all kinds of things dealing with fertility. My joke is about, being responsible for lots of kids around, and it's not the way you think. It's about making people healthy so pregnancy is available and can go to full term. So anyway, and both parties have to be working on that. So that's why we talk about both of these topics. So we're going to run through some things here and basically looking at the immune system. Now, when we talk about the immune system, and people have a hard time with this because our modern mainstream medical system is so compartmentalized. So you go to the heart doctor, or you go to the back doctor, or you go to the foot doctor. And so when we look at our practice here at Natural Health, it's more of a holistic approach. We're looking at the whole body. And of course, if you get the immune system strengthened up, that helps the whole body. It helps all the hormones to balance. You have to have good cardiovascular system for the ED issues that go on. So we're going to talk about the immune system, and that goes right along with this COVID business going on now. I'll talk a bit more about that right at the end here. There's some pretty interesting factors about that has come up itself. So we'll talk about that later. But this is interesting in the cure, in the search for the cure to multiple diseases. We find ourselves running, singing, and eating for charities that are committed to throwing dump trucks load full of money that can single-handedly destroy the disease in question. So our problem we have in America too is we want that one pill cure thing, and then we've been taught that over the years that if you go to the you're going to get this miracle pill and it's going to just cure it like that, and that's kind of the hype. Well, that's been going on for a long time, and of course I just was watching a little information, a little documentary before talking about that. I think we're up to, was it 80% of people are overweight or obese. There's 2/3 of Americans have degenerative diseases. 4 to 5, or what is it? 45% have 2 or more. And it's just that our health in America has gotten a lot worse, and it's because of the it's got to do with medical system and how we perceive it. So we again, there's so many cancer parties and all kind of things to raise money, and that's all fine. But again, when you give that money to the American Cancer Society, that's going to go towards drug research or chemo research. It's not going to go towards finding what nutritional support. But that's what that system is all about. And again, that's okay. It's just that you're not looking at an overall picture here. So again, the most powerful weapon for the body that with serious illness, of course, is the immune system, which really gets any honorable and silently struggles to do its job while generally being treated poorly. And again, people don't eat very well. They don't understand that eating is important. A little documentary I was watching was from an MD, and he was talking about that people have to take more responsibility for their health and keep themselves healthy. The problem I have with that was it's the medical people that people are going to for the information to do that, and that information is not very good. So like, for instance, we've been told not to have salt. We've been told not to eat fats. We've been told we can have all the carbs we want, whether they're potatoes or starch or ice cream and high fructose corn syrup. I mean, there's no distinction between this. People really have no idea, and you're trying to follow the medical advice, but that advice is not very good. So it gets us in all kind of trouble with our immune system, our fertility systems, reproductive systems, all that kind of stuff. So, we could wake up and discover that the answer to removing all disease processes comes from properly feeding the immune system. However, taking care of the immune system requires work and effort, often a major holdup in a society that wants everything delivered on a silver platter yesterday. And we get that a lot in here with new patients that come in, especially if patients haven't been to chiropractors or nutritionists ever before, and that one pill, they think you give just one time, that should take care of it. Well, most of the, I guess the best explanation of that is that, symptoms are the last things to show up, but the first things to leave. So a person can have a disease process going on in the body for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and then, they expect a quick little cure for that. A good example of that is gallbladder problems. People that have gallbladder problems or gallbladder surgery, it tells us that we have had liver issues for probably 2 or 3 decades that has allowed this gallbladder to finally rot to the point they have to take it out. So, and it works the same way on this fertility thing. People, doing all kind of hormonal things, the pill and that kind of stuff, which is very hard on the body, messes up the hormonal system, and then all of a sudden, after some years, they want to have children. So then, that, and the body should just automatically just pop in and should have children. Well, it doesn't work that way. If you messed up a system for years and decades, even sometimes, again, it's going to take some time for everything to normalize back. People allergic to different kinds of foods. You have to figure all that out, and that's what we do here at Natural Health. But again, working on the whole body, the immune system, the reproductive system, everything involved there. So for those who want the only proven cure to any disease, we put cure, we should have that in quotation marks, and to make the transition to a healthier state of being, consider the following recommendations to wake up your immune system and get you locked and loaded for whatever may come your way. Again, the reproductive system, the cardiovascular system, all these systems have to work with this information. So the first step to improve immune function is to largely eliminate the worst offenders in the suppression. And that's, of course, sugars, processed sugars, gluten. You see the whole thing there. And it's basically all the junk food, all the processed foods, all the things that really are not foods. So like an example of sugar, and we're talking about all forms of sugar here, there's no essential carbohydrates. We really don't need any carbohydrates. There is some in even vegetables, but even fruits too, but some in vegetables, but especially processed things. So like when you process sugar out of the food, it becomes actually a drug. It's not even a food anymore. But how many things out there people are getting hold of that are sugary? I mean, how you even seen the deal about if you get the jab, you get a free donut? I mean, that's got to be the silliest thing in my mind. But the deal is that's what goes on. That's what's in our society. And so we are having all kinds of problems with that. And people have to realize that there's a lot they can do. And they need to look at independent sources, not mainstream, controlled by big pharma advertising, but by independent sources, whether it's a news source like the High Wire with Big Tree, or there's just Dr. McCullough's information. There's kind of people out there that have good information, but you have to work at it. They're not going to spoon feed you. And if you think you could just buy insurance, and then whatever that insurance pays for is going to make you healthy, well, go to the nursing home, and you'll see the people that are in there that didn't work so well that way. So any one of these offenders can severely suppress the immune system. If you engage in several, the compounding effects leaves the system unable to do its job effectively and makes you a willing host to all kinds of viruses, bacteria, and disease processes. But people don't realize that these viruses, bacteria, those are opportunistic invaders, and many of those, like bacteria, are cleaning up old dead tissue. So that's why they end up getting a foothold. If you have good tissues and energy, the body can keep all these bugs and things. They're all there, they're already there. There's, 60 billion bacteria and 25 trillion viruses or some silly number in the body all the time. But the body, if it has energy and everything's working good, it keeps those all suppressed. They don't cause any problems. And many of them are very important for certain functions that they provide. But if they get out of hand, like for instance, if you don't eat the right kind of salt, if you're not keeping the body, the pH correct, you're going to have yeast issues. And too much sugar lends towards the yeast issues. So that's a big problem for women and fertility issues, I think. I think that whole system is really affected a lot by yeast and fungus and things like that. So important to know there. Second step to proper immune system functioning is to enlist powerful allies that help defend the system and respond to various offenders on a day-to-day basis. Again, keep those all under control. And of course, it's just basically eating good food, making sure it's local, good, greens especially, a lot of good herbal things we use here at Natural Health to help patients, and there's got good things. And you'll notice I don't like to promote a lot of fruit. Now, in the medical system, it's just like fruits and vegetables. You've got to have so many servings of fruits and vegetables. Well, fruits are really only meant to have a certain time of year. And if you look back in caveman days, really fruits were only available when they ripened at one time of the year, and the people only ate that and then kind of engorged themselves, and they got fat, so they'd have fat for the winter time. So we're not, because of refrigeration and transportation, we can have fruit anytime, but really, fruit is not meant to be eaten all the time, and it really shouldn't be eaten around other foods. The body doesn't like fructose, the fruit sugar. It needs to have that at different times so the liver can process it by itself, not with everything else going on at the same time. Of course, vitamin C, vitamin D. We're talking about the whole vitamin C complex, not ascorbic acid. We're talking about all the just synthetic D3, zinc from a source that the body, probiotics, antibacterial agents, antiviral herbs, adaptogenic herbs, and by a lot of these antibacterial, antiviral, we mean we're giving the body the ability to keep those under control. They kill them off, but just keep them under control and get the body working correctly so they don't get overproduce and cause a problem. And of course, drinking pure, clean water, grounding, that's something people don't know anything about. And it's so important now with the EMF, with the electromagnetic frequencies we get from, 5G is going to be a big problem, but even from regular 3, 4G, and then just all the other things, fluorescent lights, all the kind of things that we're around all the time. Getting proper sleep, so important. And meditation basically is just getting your mind off of all the stresses you have all day. And you got to think about how many times you don't do that. So real important to just general things that keep you healthy in general. Which way you see the results of an improved immune system is to stop doing the things that suppresses it. Then transition your lifestyle to include more of the immune system builders. This will supercharge and adequately prepare it for any threats that may come, that you may encounter. And again, we're seeing a lot of this with this COVID business because the people that had all the comorbidities, they had big problems, and then unfortunately they may have passed. And the interesting thing is that the younger people don't really have any problem with COVID. Most immune systems are pretty good shape, but the older people get, and the more junk they eat, and the more suppressors they get into, the more medications they're on, the more problems they'll have with anything, whether it's COVID, anything, colds and flu and all that kind of stuff. So that's probably enough for me. One thing I will go into, though, a little quickly, is we're seeing a lot of problem with this spike protein from either the, not so much from the infection of COVID itself or SARS-CoV-2, but from the jabs. The jabs are causing problems because they're just basically either in the J&J and the AstraZeneca, they're giving you a whole bunch of spike protein, or in the Moderna Pfizer, they're turning your body into spike protein producing machines. And these spike proteins cause all kind of problems, and especially in, they can get into the ovaries, and they can keep the placenta from working and all kind of things. So we're seeing a lot of problems with that. I think that more and more as more of this other information that we're getting comes out. So stay tuned. If you have any questions, you can always give us a call. Don't forget also, we do this information, of course, this is going to be on YouTube and Rumble and Brighton.com. But on our newsletter, we send out a newsletter every week, a blog. So all you got to do is go to our website, go in there and get on our newsletter list. And we'll just send you out information once a week. And of course, you can always call and ask questions. We have a different viewpoint because we're looking at more independent things. We're not controlled by the upper echelon of governmental health, the whole medical profession one way or another. There's a lot of money flowing there, and they're controlled, and they have to do certain things a certain way. I understand that, but they also don't look at the whole picture that way. They're looking at what's controlling that, which is mainly big pharma money and some of the players behind that. So anyway, we're here to look at it in a little different point of view. That's enough for me. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Shipp, and he's going to teach you a whole bunch of more fun things. Take it away.
Okay, great. So I don't know about a whole bunch more, but again, we're just going to make sure to talk about a little bit more things of the nervous system, how the body is functioning, and again, related to the issues that we're talking about today. So I always go back, again, the nervous system, our nervous system being the coordinator. And so if we don't have a proper communication from our brain to our body, then it's not able to function properly. So that means that we're not able to we would have those issues if we have an unbalancing of the brain and body. However, if we have clear communication, then we're able to have proper direction towards functioning properly. So again, the brain and body in communication, messages from the brain and messages to the brain. And so the thing is here is that not only is it important for the brain to signal the body, but it's also important for the brain or the body to signal right signals to the brain. And again, proper communication throughout the systems. So if the nervous system, if the nerves are being, you would say, blocked up or something's not quite, then we're not able to send proper communication from the brain to the parts of the system. So again, that's all the way down into, reproductive organs, bladder, all that stuff, in order for things to function properly. So now again, we're going to talk about here spinal nerves. Nerves supply to areas of the body, and like we said, there's a lot of nerves that come from the low back here that are actually directing towards those different organs, those glands, everything there too, to help those different, body parts to work properly, or the actual system properly. So like we said, kind of low back nerves important for reproductive organ function, and then loss of power. So the loss of power, that's kind of more of an idea. If we're not getting proper or good nerve flow to the area, then we're kind of losing power. We're losing its actual functioning power. If we're getting ample supply, nerve supply, if we're able to help, the nerve and blood and everything there too, then we get that energy back up to where it actually can function properly. It has the energy to function properly. Now, a lot of times, if our brain and body is out of sync, then our body is sending a signal, or it's transmitting a signal that says it's not ready for this type of signaling here. So kind of reproductive, you could say, is that if we're in kind of more of this fight or flight mode for too long, or chronic states, then again that kind of drains our energy down, and that causes us not to be in those modes. But again, once we get in more of a restful state, if we are able to have our body and brain in proper communication, we're able to raise that energy back up to where now we can have all the systems working properly and what they're meant to do. So again, what causes an unbalanced body? It would be a stressed out body. Now, when our bodies and brains are unbalanced, if we're having too much stress, or really if our body and brain are not able to adapt to the stress in life, then things can happen, such as these things. So again, the body is not able to heal when it's not able to adapt. It's not able to adapt, see, there you go. Not able to function properly, and not suitable for reproduction. And so again, all that falls back into how the brain and body are being balanced, where we can actually adapt to the stress at hand. Now again, we all have stress in our lives, and even our outlook on stress is good too. So when we do have stress, again, we wouldn't be here without stress. We need some kind of, you would say, something. There's stress to, kind of like if you wanted to reach the top of a mountain, you're going to need the steps, you're going to need to be able to climb that. It's not always that smooth transition. We're able to actually hold on to things, or have a little contrast there too, so that we can kind of push ourselves against gravity there. So again, just kind of like that, that's how it all works, is that we need to be able to help our brains and bodies to adapt to that stress. And I think that is it. Now, of course, what Dr. Mark was explaining is that good nutrition, good foods, that helps our bodies to adapt to stress. Moving our bodies sufficiently, not being sedentary to a point where we're not getting any movement, or we're exercising too much, that can cause a little too much stress on the body. And then also thoughts, that too. So again, clear mindset, we're able to focus properly, if we're not going, getting all wound up in all the social media, the news, different, information on the net. That can also lead to us not being able to focus properly. So those are all big things, or those are all important things for being able to regulate everything, regulate our brain and body, so that we're able to perform efficiently. So a little kind of tidbit here. Eddie and I, we're making a little 2 Health and Beyond. This is kind of a online platform for health and vitality. It's kind of something that we're working on. So if you would like to check that out, that's 2healthandbeyond.com. A little more information there, but that's another tidbit there. So Natural Health here, you can always follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Parler, Brighteon, and YouTube. Again, that's at Natural Health Quincy IL. The website, Natural Health's website, is naturalhealthquincy.com. You can subscribe to our email list. We're located at 2000 Jefferson Street, Quincy, Illinois, and the number is 217-228-2040. Thanks for watching. I hope you gained some insight again, and always wanting to give more information out so we can help everybody out there too. Thank you very much.